So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Should you still buy an iPhone 7? Today, we revisit a familiar foe here in July 2018. You guys seem to be enjoying the should you still buy iPhone videos I've been doing lately. And the reason I want to bring this one back, I did a video, should you buy iPhone 7 5 months ago. You could check that out, more shots and things like that. But in this one, we have the LCD iPhone coming to replace the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. And this one is going to get even cheaper. But at the same time, you might want to question, should you still buy it here when there's going to be a cheaper variant of an LCD coming with a newer design? That's the real question here. Okay, guys, so let's discuss the body and the build of this device really quickly here. We're talking about 138 grams. This is 7.1 millimeters thin. So you can see a very thin device. I mean, it's on par basically with the iPhone 6s and the 6 series. But this phone just has a nice weight to it. And that's one thing I really enjoy about using this over even the 7 Plus, its brother, is that it's just so much smaller and so much lighter. So just holding this phone in the hand is super comfortable. Now, yes, the iPhone SE and the iPhone 5s devices were lighter than this, but this still offers an extremely light feel, especially if you compare it to any of the newer devices that are all weighing at over 150 grams. But overall, the feel in hand to me, I really like the aluminum feel over the glass back, because the glass back gets a lot of, fingerprints. This one, the matte black, is just a very clean looking device. Now on the front, of course, you still need to protect this with a screen protector. I don't have one on mine because I keep it in a very durable case, but this will crack on the front, however. But on the whole, the body has felt very light. I mean, if you like that association of heavy to premium, then the iPhone 7 is probably not going to feel great to you. But if you like that really balanced, lightweight device with a lot of power in your hand, you're going to love the iPhone 7 still, because it's even lighter than the iPhone 8. So that's my impressions of the body. It's pretty strong, featherweight, and it's just really comfortable to use day to day. Okay, so talking a little bit more about the display, here is where the iPhone 7 is a mixed bag, because the iPhone 7 does have your traditional, 16:9 display. It also has a pretty good display. It's LCD, but it's very well calibrated and very balanced colors. So let's go ahead and go into the wallpapers here and take a look at some other wallpapers to show off the display a little bit more. You can see colors just look really good on this display overall. It's got really good viewing angles, but LCD in comparison to OLED just doesn't look quite as, vibrant, quite as amazing in store anyway. But on a day-to-day, it's pretty comfortable on the eyes. One thing that is low about this phone though is the resolution. At only 326 pixels per inch. If you look at this next to pretty much most phones that are in the same price category in the market, this phone has a little bit less density, and that's noticeable, especially if you compare it to one of its closest competitors that's actually cheaper than this phone now as well. The Galaxy S7 has a much higher density, and it looks much sharper and vibrant than its display. But overall, the display is still comfortable to the eyes, and if you get immersed in your content and just using the iOS experience, you kind of tend to forget that it's 326 pixels per inch, that it's not even a 1080 display. It does have a 65.6 screen to body ratio, which makes it feel like the bezels are pretty huge, which they are. That's one of the negatives of this phone. But overall, I think the display is still definitely serviceable, usable right now. And if you're going to buy it, you just got to keep in mind, are you cool with the thicker bezels, the less trendy tall display? Then you'll still appreciate what the 7 has to offer. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the software department of the iPhone 7. So going into software update, you can see I'm running the official 11.4. I didn't put 12 on here because I still use this phone as a daily sometimes for when I go out doing activities like sports or, biking, things like that. I need something light and portable. I still go to the iPhone 7 sometimes. It's a really nice device. Now, in terms of the software itself, iOS has been a little bit spotty in the earlier stages. The iOS 11.4 though has been pretty stable here for this device, and I haven't had much crashes at all. I still feel like iOS 10 when this device first came out was faster than iOS 11, but we're going to see performance upgrades in iOS 12 going forward. In early betas are not showing too much of a difference, but I'm sure in the later betas, when we get closer to the official GM builds, we're going to see some very fast increases in performance here for the iPhone 7. Now, in terms of iOS, that what iOS is versus Android, that's a whole different debate for another day. Software overall though, it's going to be updated for a couple years to come. And if you're buying this device right now, you're not going to have any issues with having this device 2-3 years and still being updated. However, I'm not sure how long it will be fast in those upcoming years, but seeing as though the big controversy with iOS 11, I don't think Apple's going to be downgrading performance on your iPhone anytime soon. And that brings me on to performance. Now, I know you've seen a few of my speed tests already with the iPhone 7, but what's really impressed me about the iPhone 7 is its competent performance. Now, it's been out almost 2 years, and I don't really see any difference when it comes to this category. This phone is on par with most 2018 Android phones when it comes to performance. It feels as fast as a Galaxy S9 in terms of, just the power of the applications. Now, the animations do open a little faster on the S9 and newer devices, but the fact that an older 2016 phone can keep up with pretty much any Android today shows that this processor was definitely ahead of its time in the quad-core A10 Fusion, and there's a reason why the A10 Fusion is in the new iPads. So if you're buying this for everyday performance right now, this is still a strong suit, and the A11 is not that much of a difference either over this A10. I mean, yes, of course, on benchmarks, it's more, but in the real world, I can't tell if there's an A10 or an A11 in my device. So performance should not be a concern if buying an iPhone 7 right now. Very snappy, very impressive performance. Software is going to get even better with 12 as well to increase the performance further. So let's discuss that battery life. Now, I've experienced this phone in the day-to-day quite a bit, and the battery life has been pretty good actually. 88% here right now on the device. I actually have a maximum capacity on this iPhone 7 right here. And this phone is, I would say, a day phone for most users. Now, it's not going to be a 2-day phone, and heavy users will need to top this thing up before bedtime. But most people should be able to get through a full day with the iPhone 7. Now, it's not great battery life, but it's a 1-day battery life phone. It's not disappointing. Now, if you want to know raw numbers, what I usually get, I get about 4.5 to 5 hours screen time here, and standby is incredible on most iPhones, so that's not an issue. If you're not powering this on, you probably could get 2 days if you're an extremely light user. Okay, so discussing the audio experience. It's pretty good. It does have dual speaker here, so you got one down here, one embedded within the earpiece. And I've always pretty much enjoyed the audio experience here when it comes to external. The iPhone 8 though has increased that speaker quite substantially, like 20%. So the iPhone 8 is definitely louder than this phone, but having both is really welcome. I don't really like mono speakers at all. At the bottom though, no headphone jack, and I've lost pretty much every dongle I've ever had. External speakers though are strong for the iPhone 7. So talking about the camera, I don't want to go on too much about this. Just look at the samples and judge for yourself. So I quickly want to just point out a few things I didn't like about the 7. Number one is no wireless charging. Even this year when this phone came out, the S7 had wireless charging. I think even the S6 before it might have had wireless charging. The iPhone 7 also doesn't have a fast charger in the box, so it charges super slow unless you get a bigger like iPad charger for this device. No Bluetooth 5.0 on board, makes Bluetooth connections not quite as fast as the newer Bluetooth 5.0. And this also has really chunky bezels, so I didn't really like that too much. Also, without a case, The iPhone 8 or 7 is super slippery unless you get the jet black one, which kind of comes out with the trade-off of a lot of scratching on that phone. So the aluminum body iPhone 7s are super slippery. So that's a few things I didn't like about this phone overall. They need a case on them for sure. So in conclusion, should you still buy this device? It's easy for a lot of people to just say, yeah, of course, it's still very fast. It's got the latest updates. It's nothing different from the iPhone 8. But if you really think closely about buying this, it's kind of tricky proposition, because right now at this point, we all know the LCD iPhone is coming. And if you buy this phone right now from Apple, you're going to pay over $600 with taxes, especially for the one you really want, which is the 128 gig, and 32 gigs is not quite a bit of storage. But if you get this third party, you could find a deal. It can be an excellent deal still. However, again, you do have the iPhone 8, which is going to come down in a couple of months. I think personally, if you're using a 6S right now, I would hold off a couple months. But if you're the type of person who knows, like, I want that iPhone 7, or I don't want to pay for the newer, more premium iPhones, iPhone 7 is just as good. When the new one comes out, you're not buying it anyway, then this could still be a great device for you. Also, this device comes in multiple colors: matte black, gold, silver. You can still find the red one somewhere, rose gold, and jet black. The iPhone 7 represents what I like to say as balance. It's a balance of good processor, good camera, good display calibration, and just good speed. So overall, it's a nice balanced device, and it runs much better than most budget phones do today. If you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click that like button for me. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Any questions, comments, concerns in the comment section. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.